Another breaking video today from J.K. London. Okay, so for those who don't know, I've done a video about her before talking about school books in school. Okay, and of course she works with the Natural Women's Council. Okay, and anti-globalist, pro-human. Okay, it's good to see people that are anti-globalist. Okay, of course we're all against the woke, Marxist, DEI, agenda-driven, society that's pushed on us nowadays. But breaking video coming today where she exposes that none of the books that are actually given to kids, okay, none of these trans books or any of these books that sort of push these ideologies, okay, none of these sort of graphic, explicit sexual books that are given to kids under 12 years old, none of them are signed off by any government official or even the publisher. Okay, they're just basically trying to make money off these books. So stay tuned, watch this video, let me know your thoughts in the end. This one's a crazy one, guys. So, and give JK London a follow on Twitter as well. She puts out some good content. Okay, we first saw her exposing the book where it was talking about the Irish family versus the other family and just a whole bunch of different stuff. And then obviously there was a bunch of anti-Irish content as well, a bunch of explicit content. I mean, this has been happening for years, and a lot of parents don't even know about this stuff, guys, honestly, to protect the innocence of people. I think the Romans said that when people, the innocence of kids is kept as long as possible, that's when you have a modern society. And basically now they're just trying to take that innocence from people as fast as you possibly can, whether it's to make money or kind of to change people psychologically, who knows. But let's listen to what she says.
I recently posted that something big is going to happen, that the truth is going to come out about the textbooks. And this truth is so ugly that it could potentially remove all of the inappropriate textbooks from our children's classroom, the SPHE textbooks. We've been asking for the sign-off process, the risk assessment, and the child safeguarding statement on these books. And do you think there is one? No, we don't think so either. We got a long letter back from the Department of Education. They referred us to the publisher. One publisher, Gill, not only didn't respond, but they held a meeting with their employees and sent an email. We got a copy of the leaked email. It's pretty incriminating. So Margaret Burns, who's CEO of the Gill publishing company to publish these inappropriate books, you're going to want to brace yourself for the news that's coming out.
So for those who don't know, if you're not from Ireland, lads, Gill is basically a huge publishing company. I'm pretty sure it's Irish, okay? And all my school books in school, if I remember properly, that kind of triggers something in me. Gill was always on the cover. It was always on the book cover or the spine of the book, okay? And they sent an email out to see, was there sort of a risk assessment? That's a good way to put it, guys. What's the risk with giving these kind of information to kids, and what's the sort of risk associated with that? The sort of globalist agenda that they all have to push. To push sexual stuff on young people. What is the risk with that? Is there going to be people, that are upset with themselves, or is there going to be body image disorders, or whatever, what have you, guys, And obviously they said we don't even have a risk assessment, okay? It's all about this, guys. It's all about the money, in my personal opinion. If they're able to make a shit ton of money off these books, who cares about these kids, guys? The innocent people that are harmed in this, who gives a shit? They're making a ton of money. They're being sold to these SPHE classes, which is social physical health education in secondary schools in Ireland, okay? And yeah, those classes were normally just bullshit anyways. A lot of the stuff that we learned, not applicable in real life contexts, okay? Nothing I learned in SPHE I can even remember, let alone use later on in life. But yeah, it's crazy. They have no risk assessment. They have no sort of overview of what's being pumped out, to the flipping masses of children across Ireland. I mean, that is some serious shit. And then not only that, they sent an email to say, don't talk to this J.K. London. Don't talk to her. She's a far-right agitator. That's what everyone's called, far-right agitator. So absolutely ludicrous stuff.
And the other publisher, Folin, referred us to the teacher. If we have concerns about the school books, we don't go to the Department of Education or the NCCA or even the publisher. We go to the teacher. So they're advising people around Ireland, parents, to go to all of the teachers to question them on the inappropriate content. The teachers didn't write the books. So any teacher listening to this, you should just completely refuse to use those books because they're not risk assessed or signed off on. And the publishing companies are advising parents to come to you as the teacher to complain about the books. That's not fair on the teachers. One would assume that the Department of Education, overseen by Minister for Education Helen McEntee, one would assume that those books would be signed off on by the department. To our knowledge, they're not. Gript Media is going to be publishing all of the evidence that we've sent.
Damn.
And it's going to be big, and it's going to be alarming. And all of the publishing companies and the Department of Education and the NCCA, you're going to want to brace yourself because there's going to be a lot of angry parents now. And this is what we need. We need thousands and thousands of angry parents to just say no. We don't consent to this content, particularly where it's not even been approved or risk assessed. Have a good night.
Yeah, so that's crazy. So that one, she put that out yesterday, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So none of the things that are kind of shown to people in schools or even in colleges, let's take it a step up. Okay, yeah, everyone's over 18 in college or whatever, or close enough. But in colleges now, it's all just woke liberals. Like, even when I went to college for 4 years, okay, for a business degree, we were just being taught stuff that was so irrelevant to the course. Like, all of our teachers were like, you know, certain liberal ones were like, we hate Trump. And it was just very, it was just a very more liberal, left-leaning, you know, work environment. And it wasn't fair, guys, honestly, because what if some of the students were more conservative, more religious? You know, it has to be fair for everybody. College is the place where you're supposed to, you know, give in different information and talk different ideas, but not anymore. You know, in Ireland, it's like the most liberal place in the world. It's just crazy. I don't know what's actually happened to this country, but yeah, completely insane. So the ugly truth is going to come out. Gript, shout out to Gript Media. They're always first to publish big information like that. You know, they do the breaking news stories, but unreal, guys. I mean, that is going to like literally change society, because I used to see loads of people, you know, from around, you know, the west of Ireland and these different places, and they used to be running into schools and, you know, taking these books off shelves in the library and stuff. And you know, it was pretty, you know, crazy. I used to think, oh, that's crazy. But now I was reading some of these books and I was like, this is absolutely ludicrous. Now, of course, the biggest argument will say, well, Chris, you know, if kids want to get, you know, X-rated material, explicit material, they can just go on the internet. Everything is on the phone, right? Every single thing is on the phone. And yeah, that is correct, guys. You know, people, you know, there is correct. Everyone says you can put a blocker on your phone. That doesn't really work, you know, especially even for young people. But the difference is, guys, they're not pushing this content on people, okay? So if you go to look up stuff on the internet, that's you going to find it yourself. But if you're giving actively books to kids, or you're being disingenuous with what you actually want these kids to learn, you know, that's when most people have a problem, okay? You can't safeguard the whole world, you know, the kids, you know, kids and shit. When I was 14, you know, people were going crazy, showing crazy videos in class and just crazy shit. But at the same time, you know, you're trying not to look out for the material. You're trying to look out for the material that's actually given and promoted and actually pushed as being cool and as being actually, you know, a good thing. Because when we were given textbooks, we used to think this was the Holy Bible. Okay, this math textbook, this is going to get me an A in the Leaving Cert. Okay, and it is. Right? So if you give a kid an SPHE book and he reads all this stuff about whatever, who the hell knows, they're going to actively think that that is okay, or that is, you know, the norm, okay, when it definitely isn't, guys. So let me know your thoughts. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe. If you want to help me to keep making these videos every single day to push back against the mainstream media, make sure to drop a comment down below. Hit the join link as well underneath the video. Become a member. And that was, yeah, crazy. I couldn't believe that, you know, all this crazy stuff is now coming out about these textbooks, and how really for the last number of years people were correct, okay? There is harmful and explicit content in these books, guys, and it should be made aware of, okay? And then hopefully, you know, I mean, give the kids the Bible or something to read. They don't need to be reading all this shit about, you know, whatever, guys. You know, tea stuff and all this weirdo stuff. In schools, it's like, dude, when you're over 18, like I said before, guys, I'm a, you know, guy that I think you should be free to do anything you want to do, but up to 18 or whatever, you know, 16, 18, over that age. But they're giving these books to 5, 10-year-olds. It's just, that's crazy. That's way too young, guys. So let me know your thoughts. I love you all, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Peace.